I grew up that charity was a word that had a lot of negative connotations. In fact, my dad was adamant that we did not ever receive charity.
I mean, we wake up in the morning, we immediately think about how we didn't get enough sleep. That's living out of whack. We think about all the things we didn't do yesterday, how unproductive we were. Living in abundance, however, is kind of a state of being of thinking, wow, there's enough. I have something I can contribute today. I have the ability to participate. I have the ability to give grace to people right where I'm at now today. I don't need to go to Africa on a mission trip in order to be giving charity, or I don't have to give some huge sum to and have my name on a donors list, on like the founders list or whatever, in order to be charitable.
In a practical sense, work it into your budget in a monetary sense. And work it into your schedule. People like to pretend they're too busy, but what's the point of life if it isn't helping others?
I mean, you can think of charity very monetarily, very financially, thinking about tithes or just, giving to charity like Red Cross or some other kind of cause like that. The word is derived, I think, from the Greek word charis, meaning grace. It's usually referred to, I think it has to do with God's grace for us. And in that sense, it's something very undeserved. Grace, you can be charitable in the sense of, I mean, charity is one of the virtues. It's you can view it as being kind to that shopkeeper who's being short with you when you're trying to get your coffee, or when you're trying to get something from a bookstore.
It feeds into the golden rule: do unto others as you would want done to yourself. And if you don't live a life of charity, that's an inward life. Charity is a channel that allows for you to live outwardly. The whole point of Christianity is to connect with people and to bring them closer to Christ, and you can't do that if you're being selfish.
If I see charity as demonstrating God's love, then I need to be ready if God says, pick up the tab on this meal for someone else, or do this act of kindness for someone else, despite the fact that you may or may not get any credit for it. So I think in that way, it's just staying whisper close to the Holy Spirit in the ways in which He wants to use me to express God's love.
A shoe company decided it was a great idea that every time you bought a pair of shoes, they would give a pair to a person in Africa in need. They did it in a horrible fashion. They ended up airdropping all of the shoes into various villages, and it completely destroyed the local economy. People who were like using spare tires to make shoes and selling them to people were out of a job, and the shoes were second rate, and they didn't even do the job well. And so it wasn't so much a charitable action as it was a terrible attempt at keeping up a good PR for people who bought their shoes. So it was a selfish act of charity.
Had to become quite guarded. I would say almost jaded at times when I've just dozens and dozens and dozens of times people have asked me for money. As a pastor especially, they would come to church just for the chance to ask. So I think that's the bad charity, right?
To live a charitable life is to not only invest in your future, but in the future of others. Charity and selfishness can't coexist. So being charitable not only helps others, but it helps yourself too.
I think that you have to, in a lot of ways, go out of your comfort zone. Go out of your way. You shouldn't be comfortable. I mean, and I'm speaking to myself as well, this is for sure.
I think good charity follows the rule that Jesus said, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, right? So when you are willing to give when nobody knows about it,
In the New Testament, we read, "He who does not love does not know God, for God is love." Furthermore, we learn from Paul, he says, "If I knew all the languages of the earth and of heaven, I would be a noisy gong. If I had all knowledge and understood all prophecy, had faith that could move mountains, without love I would be nothing." If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. I think one part of charity that's often overlooked is taking charity on yourself and spending time alone with God, being filled up that you may truly love. When we spend time with God, our spirit is renewed. We're brought closer with God so that dissonance is removed, and we can be more in tune with the direction God is going and where He would want to send us. And it also equips us for what He has. A man came up to Jesus and said, "My son is possessed by a demon and your disciples can't do anything about it. Please come." And he goes and he casts the demon out of the boy. And the father says, and the disciples say, how come you can do that but we couldn't? And first he says something about their faiths, and if they had faith they'd be able to. But he also said after that, "But some demons come out by prayer and fasting." And nowhere in the account do we see that he had an opportunity to fast, which implies that he fasted regularly in preparation for what each week would bring. And I think similarly, our hearts can't give charity from a good place unless we are giving our hearts time to rest with God. I think one form of charity is taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others.